a lot of times what you need to do is you need to have clear goals established. And now, what Queen she was talking about is it being our plan. Yeah, that's great. But you know what women find attractive? When you got your own plan and you working it. Because it makes you look ambitious. It does. And we all know that ambition is one of those, attraction triggers. Welcome back, guys. Mike here, Money, Marriage, and Media, and we are back looking for 1K subscribers. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on, and we're going to jump right in today with Security Boss, unsolicited security boss. Did you pick that title just because it's a tongue twister? I'm just saying. But anyway, we have a panel here. The title of this is 50-50 Partnership Marriages Undermine the Man's Authority. The discussion was started by Crew Season. Initial thoughts on this? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But you know what? I'm going to go ahead and start this, and we're going to see what the panel is talking about. Oh, married people on the panel. Well, we always want to point that out because marriage is important, right? We need to start highlighting because we need more married people making content. So we have Trill AC, Queen Sheba, Ricky Williams, Security Boss. She didn't change the name, right? Okay, Unsolicited Security Boss, and I think that's it. Let's go.
Move your mom into you and your husband's house.
It would I definitely can. I definitely can.
You can move your wife. You can move your mother into your husband and your house.
Yeah.
Let's say that she done already got you invested. You're already in love. You love this woman, and you know how we are in terms of what it is that if it's something that the woman that we love wants. More times than not, like we'll bend over backwards to try to create it out of thin air. So I guess my question is, how does that man navigate that if his wife's interests change somewhere into the relationship? She somewhere along the line wants more. So somewhere along the line that F-150 truck ain't enough. Somewhere along the line, she may want a bigger house. How should that man navigate that?
Was that my plan?
Exactly.
Just being honest.
Yeah.
Was that my plan?
Other thing is kind of like when you guys are talking about the plan, I think I've seen a lot of people divorce and separate because people are ever evolving. So like the plan at 24 when y'all got married, 20 years later may have evolved, and you guys have to evolve together. You can't say, oh, we need to stick to this plan that we had when we were 24. Things change. People have parents get elderly, parents die, tragedy happens, people lose jobs, people move to different cities. Things change. So if you're on the same page with your partner and you guys are ever evolving together, then you're going to come up with like the plans changes as time goes versus saying like, this is the man and this was his plan. And I have to.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't change, because again, what you're supposed to have is, and her answer makes sense. If you're dealing with a bunch of guys who don't really have a plan for life, then yeah, things are open to interpretation, and we can always make adjustments and things like that. But the overall goal doesn't change. The goal is we're trying to build a legacy here, and there are going to be what do you call it? There are going to be delays. There are going to be deflections, things that are going to make you have to make adjustments, small adjustments though. But the overall goal doesn't change. If you find yourself drifting apart, then it's the man's job to put you guys back on course. Because again, you're supposed to be with this man because you agree with his plan long term. So I think what Kayla is talking about is she's speaking more about female nature, ups and downs, and women will always argue for the right and the ability to have said options available to them. Because if you try and take it away with something that is consistent, that's when you start getting pushback. And that's what's really going on here. Because again, if you both talking about a plan that includes both you guys' long-term goals, well, what changed? See, she's talking about, well, we're both 24. First off, most married couples are not the same age. There's usually an age gap in there of at least a couple of years. So when you're talking about you want a man to lead, you bring those issues up, and then he'll make changes based on your input. But you have to understand that your input might not make him want to change his plan because it's his plan. He spent a lot of time and effort in developing it. And for you to come in and say, well, we need to change this because I'm not feeling it. See, this is why this speaks to another issue in our community about things that are broken. As it stands right now, marriage is a broken concept in our community because not enough of us understand that there are different ways of doing it. But another process that's broken, this speaks specifically to it, is the vetting process. If you feel the constant need to change the plan for your family as a woman, you picked the wrong guy because you don't agree with his plan. He wants to do things, and a lot of times we put that on the shoulder of our women too much. This is why, again, why another part that's broken is that we're raising our women not to trust the men. We're raising them not to trust their husbands. We're raising them not to trust the fathers in their own family to help with mate selection. Because again, if your father is telling you this is a good man, you need to follow him. Okay, well, why do we need to make such drastic changes? Translation: I didn't trust the man who helped me find this guy, and I don't trust him either. We got to do a better job of raising our daughters. It's funny how you can pick that up, you can get all that just from what she's talking about. Well, realistically, that's what's going on here. You want to change the plan because you don't trust that it's going to work out. We have these small changes. Now, I get what she's talking about as far as, well, we got to move my mother in. Well, where's her husband? See, a man's plan, well, he's old. He passed away already, yeah? And his plan should have included his wife surviving him. Women live longer than men. So, I mean, did she pick the right guy? Why are you as her child suffering for her bad mistakes? We got to start talking about this stuff more. High level conversations. Let's go.
Stick to this for the rest of our lives. Like, that's a little bit intense to me. I would think a good husband would be every step of the way consulting with his wife in terms of how the changes are going in the family and adjusting the plan according to that per both of their needs. I would think that would be respectful. And so that's kind of how I see it versus like, was that in his plan? Like, things change. Your mom is old. She has to move in with us now. This changes a lot of the plans. This was before we planned. We may need more money for this. There's a whole lot of things that like happen. And I think staying together is about like, or at least I've seen in my dad being married like 25 years, is that like when you got to roll with the punches as a team and figure out like how to roll with those different changes together.
I think that's what he's saying. It's just the plan is implemented by the husband. He's the person that determines when it happens, not the wife. He's saying exactly what you're saying.
But how can it always be like that? What if it was my mom that's sick that has to move in with us?
But she wouldn't be able to do that unless if your husband said it was okay. You can't just move your mom into you and your husband out.
I definitely can. I definitely can.
You can move your wife. You can move your mother into your husband and your house.
Yeah, I think what I wasn't following security boss was like, if your mama gets sick, and if your mama out there, and if that man don't say yes, and your mama can't move in, really?
Right, that's just it's not a one size fit all. What goes on in your marriage may not.
I don't recall saying any of that. But let me say this: I don't recall saying anything about somebody's mother being sick. But what I am saying,
that's what I said.
That's what Kayla said.
That's the analogy that I said.
But what I'm saying to you is this: if your husband is providing the necessities and he's putting a roof over your head and he's being the man paying all the bills, you do not move someone in. I don't really care who it is without him saying that this is what we can do. I don't care about the relationship.
I think we're all saying that. I think we're all saying that. I think we're all saying everybody has a blueprint.
That's not what she said. Okay, so guys, if you haven't noticed what we have here, Prime example of the sister code. You have Queen Sheba trying to take on the fight against Security Boss because there are multiple women on the panel who are trying to agree with Kayla. Who's saying, I can do whatever I want to do. I don't need to talk to my husband. So who leads in the marriage that Kayla is talking about? Who leads in that household? Is it her? If that's what it is, that's not an issue. I don't take issue with that. Women who want to be the head of their household, you go right ahead and do that. Figure out, and again, that's why I say we need more married people making content. If that's the type of marriage you want, then go find you some examples where that works long term. I don't know of any, but I mean, they have to be out there though, right? Statistically, it might be, there are always exceptions to the rule. So, you know, you need to find a marriage that's worked long term like that, and, you know, try and make some small adjustments, or you can model it 100%. But, you know, I'm not going to knock you if that's what you're looking for. But the vast majority of marriages like that, they don't. Usually the woman gets fed up with the guy and she calls him weak and she ends up leaving him. So I don't know. Yeah, because Queen Sheba's married, and I'm starting to see her more on panels. She speaks very highly of her husband. I'm having a hard time believing that she would just move somebody into her home without talking to her husband first. Because at the end of the day, that's very disrespectful to do. Just like Kayla was talking about, is that we have to be able to make changes because stuff comes up. But you expect that, man, you're just saying that, well, no, I changed this because I wanted to. It's a life-altering decision moving somebody into your house. You have to talk about that. You can't just put, you know what? We're going to leave that there. We're going to move on.
I think I heard someone say,
is everybody has a blueprint that works for their marriage. What works for you may not be what Kayla and her husband adheres to. I think that's what we're saying.
I think I heard someone say, I don't care what my husband says, my mama is coming to my house.
Let me make sure I'm clear, because maybe I'm not understanding how marriage works, and I'm married. Two become one. So it's our plan. And that's the way how I'm thinking about me and my husband. It's our plan. Like, he may make the final decision, but normally we sit down and we say, okay, this is what we're thinking this year.
See how she's moving the goalposts? That's not what she was talking. That's not what Kayla was talking about. She just said, I don't need to talk to my husband, which means that, no, we're not a team. I'm in this for myself. I want to do it and I'm going to do it. But again, you have the sister code kicking in. Queen Sheba wanted to come in and try and help her out. And you end up digging your own grave because now she's going back on what she just said. She actually agrees with what Security Boss and Ricky Williams were talking about before. I find it interesting that it's only the single women on the panel that keep talking, that are giving that pushback that you need to talk to your husband before you do something drastic like move somebody into your house. Hey, you know what? I might be wrong though. I mean, because one thing about YouTube, you have to be open to the possibility that you could be wrong. I could be wrong in this, you know.
From vacation, we're planning on going here. Now, he may say, I'd rather go here than there. But normally it's our plan. So,
well, no, I don't know. You said it best. He makes the final decision, and that's what matters. That's the respect that you should have for your husband. So you're saying, even though he's receiving and accepting some of your input, he's still making the final decision. And it's respect. I'm sorry?
He loves my input. Sometimes he comes to me and say, what do you think about this?
As he should. It's not a dictatorship. You, as a woman, the wife is supposed to have input. But again, that's not what they were discussing here. Kayla just decided to up and move somebody into their house and didn't talk to him first and said, nope, she's coming. Again, if you're married, if that's what you're looking for, then fine, you know, you can do that. But, you know, we've seen the results of that. And again, there's always exceptions to the rule. Maybe she needs to go out there and find that exception and figure out how they're making it work. So that's what I would say. But it's a high level conversation. So what do we talk about here? Look, this is not that. we had to peel back some layers to get to the high level conversation here, because mostly this is about this is, if anything, this is just a prime example of the sister code. But more importantly, though, this is why it's important that you have to have a plan. You have to have a financial game plan. Now, the major talking point here is that that we hear from women is that most men don't have a plan. They're just falling, backwards through life, and then they meet somebody and they say, "Oh yeah, well we can do this," and then everything is just and we all expect everything to just fall into place, and it doesn't work like that, right? A lot of times, what you need to do is you need to have clear goals established. And now, what Queen she was talking about is it being our plan. Yeah, that's great, but you know what women find attractive? When you got your own plan and you working it, because it makes you look ambitious. It does. And we all know that ambition is one of those, attraction triggers for women. So guys, I'm telling you, you need to have your own plan of what you're going to do with your life. You need to know where you want to live at, which can be up in the air, by the way, right? But you need to know what kind of lifestyle you're looking to have, and you need to develop a roadmap. There's a book out there, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I'm gonna save you some time and some money on that. One of the most important things in that book was begin with the end in mind. Figure out what your end goal is. Personal goal for me is I wanted to build a legacy. I wanted to extend my family's line, my last name, right? Our bloodline. So I was trying to figure out in college, I was trying to figure out, okay, how can I do that? How can I start building wealth to pass to so that the next generation is a better spot than I was than I am right now? And that became my goal. It was almost an obsession. It's one of the reasons why I ended up working in financial services, even though I don't do that anymore, because it was just a tool to get me where I'm going, right? So as guys, you got to figure out what that is. And don't give me some universal answer like generational wealth, because that's the cop-out. Most of you can't even define that. It's just a buzzword. Figure out what it is that you want to pass on to the next generation, because ultimately that's most men's purpose, is to usher in the next generation to do better than what your current generation did. So look, guys, this is a great video. Go check out Security Boss and subscribe to her channel, because she makes great content. We need more married people making content. I'm going to say goes to the next time. Peace.